As vozes do professor.
أصوات المعلمون.
老師有話兒
Teachers' voices.
Welcome to a new episode of Teachers' Voices, a podcast made of the stories of teachers around the world, talking in their own words about their experiences. I'm your host, educational researcher Nina Alonso, and today we are talking about girls and women in STEAM. That's science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. This episode is made in collaboration with Teach for All, an international network of organizations and teachers that has taken girls' education seriously for some years now. Teach for All is committed to supporting the global network to identify and address the barriers that keep girls from learning and fulfilling their potential. I'm back in Europe. I have a bit of jet lag, but quite happy from all the experiences and learnings that I'm bringing from Latin America. After visiting Paraguay, I spent some days in Rio de Janeiro, and it was carnival time. I really loved the joyful spirit of its people, the cariocas, and the easygoing vibe of the city. Now I'm here recording with Indy again, and that is also great. Indy is such a joyful dog. She will help me cope with the transition, I think. And talking about transitions, one of the most inspiring experiences that I have recently had and that I told you about in the past episode was visiting the girls' school in the Maracaju forest in Paraguay. Living for a few days with these girls made me think more than ever about gender responsive education, and this links well with today's discussions. First, we will hear from Maliha Fawzia, the interim global head of girls' education at Teach for All, and then three inspiring teachers working in different contexts and locations, from Teach for Poland, Teach for Nigeria, and Teach for Pakistan. They are Patrycja Janekankit, Shulamite Ajalaji, she asked me to call her Shuli, and Kainat Rohail. These math, chemistry, and biology teachers promote innovative STEAM teaching approaches and projects that particularly engage female students. They are all fellows of Teach for All Girls Education Program, which promotes girls' empowerment through socio-emotional learning, skills, STEAM, and girl-led interventions. We start our journey today in South Asia, paying a visit to Maliha. Hello, Maliha. Where are you today?
Hi, Nina. Yes, it's great to connect with you here. I am currently based in Dhaka, Bangladesh. You might hear the hustles and bustles of the city. I'm at the city center, so there's like a lot of cars honkings and rickshaws twinkling, so you will hear the sound.
I believe you were a teacher not long ago.
Yeah, for Teach for Bangladesh program, I used to be a teacher and then a head of training.
Maliha, how far away are we from gender equity in STEAM globally?
We are still far away from achieving gender equity globally. And over the last decade, while we have made some great progress in the field of girls' education and STEM for girls, the number of structural issues and barriers, particularly for the marginalized community, still exists. At the same time, we have seen our teachers and students around the global network showing really strong interest in pursuing STEM subjects and careers. And we are also constantly learning from the educators and teachers from the global network who are working in delivering STEM education in different contexts and facing different challenges while breaking out of the narrow approach of looking at education from just an academic outcome lens. And it has been particularly groundbreaking for us during the pandemic to see our students developing their non academic skills like critical thinking, problem solving, communications, and breaking that out for students with really low access and students who are really struggling, particularly girls from marginalized communities. What we have observed during this groundbreaking moment, we had the reflection after that, and partners around the world working in these fields on the ground every day has told us that how much particularly the girls has felt empowered and how much skills and they have been able to build and they have been able to demonstrate to their communities and their families, and the trust and confidence we were able to see from families to the students, and particularly the girl students, were very impressive.
What barriers to stop girls from taking up STEAM subjects?
when thinking about the barriers to girls taking up STEAM subjects in schools, I would go to a teacher from Teach for India for some inspiration in this topic, because when she was designing a project for her students focusing on girls' education and gender responsive curriculum, she was really surprised when she was doing a need analysis and she found out from her reflection that the girls in her classroom were not feeling safe in the first place. And they were not confident as well with their own identities. So they were not really happy with being girls. And they did not feel seen, they did not feel welcomed. And this made her to actually revamp her entire project towards building confidence and welcoming all identities in her classroom first. And this is a really big challenge all over the globe in many, many cultures that we have seen oftentimes that the first barrier is about, are our girls feeling seen in the communities, in the classrooms, with their identities as girls, and them feeling welcomed in the classroom with all of it, with their identities and whoever they are coming to the classroom. Because it's really important to understand, to pursue knowledge, to pursue any subject. It's first and most important to feel safe, to be seen, to feel confident, to share their opinion, and to feel confident among themselves. And I can share about myself growing up in Bangladesh and went through the entire public education system. I was really not confident with maths and science. And also because I always felt I'm stupid, I'm not really good enough to study maths and science. And from primary to my high school, even in my undergrad first year, none of my STEM teachers were female. All of them were male. I did not, even in my school, did not see any female STEM teachers. And I think one of the reasons why we see all around the world boys feeling naturally gravitated towards STEM subjects and feeling confident in pursuing STEM careers because they grow up seeing role models, examples, possibilities, many more than our girl students does, like even I did. And same as a teacher, when I was in a school and I was the only STEM teacher in that school who was a female. And I think this is very interesting and very inspiring personally for me to understand that why it's important for girls, first of all, to be celebrated, to be seen, to be welcomed. At the same time, to be able to see the examples and role models, to feel encouraged that there is nothing wrong with them. And STEM is a career, it is a possible career for women, and women are doing great in that, and they can do really much better in that. At the same time, globally, what we have also seen, the kind of teachers who have been successful, who work really hard, and the kind of feedback conversation they have with students from the early age. As a result, we see that there are some classrooms where see the girls are really interested and excited to study STEAM subjects, to pursue STEAM careers. And also there are classrooms like mine where I was a student that none of my peers who were girls were interested to study STEM or pursue a STEM career. And I think this is something has been also part of a systemic issue where the mindset and the approach, how we talk to students from a very early age about a STEAM subject, about a STEAM career, particularly girls, it's very important to think about the feedback process from the teacher's end and the communication we have, and of course, the mindset around it. We often forget to make the connection between the experience of a girl child in the school and their learning experiences and their aspiration in life. They're all interconnected and they're all intersectional.
What works to motivate girls to follow up a STEAM path, Maliha?
I have seen a lot of things working and why a lot of things are being at place for what works. So if we discuss why boys naturally feel gravitated towards STEM related subjects and career pathways in general versus girls in many cultures all around the world, is also because of the books and that they read, the examples they have access to, and the role models they have met. And this has been really visible, and our partners around the world has been able to identify this as a clear challenge for their girls aspiration as a barrier to their girls' aspiration. And this is one thing we have seen working so much, that being able to see STEM teachers who are female, being able to read about our role models who looks like them, who talks like them in their language, that makes it possible, that doesn't make it like something really non-aspirational, that a STEM career is very much possible, is very much doable.
What are you doing with Teach for All and your partners around STEAM education for girls?
At Teach for All, one of our biggest priority is to come alongside with the partners all around the world who are putting tremendous effort on the ground on a day-to-day basis. And we have intentional approach to support partners, particularly from the Girls Education Initiative lens. I can say that with the work of gender equity, with the work of STEM, partners who are working on the ground with these issues, and our work is to get those insights from them and being able to be the supporter in spreading those insights all across the network. And the priority of the Girls Education Initiative is to be able to synthesize and spread insights on a locally rooted and globally informed approach that can help accelerate the progress towards gender equity all around the globe. One thing Teach for Armenia has done, that they have designed a book called Armenian Wonder Woman. And this book is full of stories of Armenian women who has done great work previously in the history and also who are doing great work currently. They have designed this book as a part of their gender responsive curriculum for their classrooms, where the teachers are taking these books to the remotest corners of Armenia, having access to this kind of books that brings inspiration and so many stories and possibilities, and having that empowerment. I think that brings me a lot of hope. And we also work very closely with partners, because one of the work that our locally rooted partners do, they work with teacher leaders in their own contexts and countries and help them strengthen their practices with their classroom and communities. And our work from Teach for All is to also support the partners on different countries to help build the capacity of the teacher leaders and support with this knowledge and insights that we have in the global network.
In most parts of the world, schooling often doesn't serve girls' needs and rights, as many classrooms are still characterized by gender bias, lack of belief in girls' ability in math and science, and traditional gender roles, which girls and boys observe through teacher attitudes, textbooks, widespread acceptance of gender-based violence, and lack of leadership opportunities for girls. Let's hear from a teacher who is disrupting this bias. She comes from a context that deviates from the norm. Let's welcome Patrycja, a math teacher from a suburb city near Warsaw, the capital of Poland. Hello, Patrycja.
Hello.
Can you tell me about yourself and the context where you live and teach?
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me. Right now I am in Poland, in the city named Marki. This is near Warsaw. I am at home, just came back with my kids. They are upstairs watching cartoons. My daughter, she's 5 and she's attending kindergarten. And my son is 7. They attend different school. They attend public school. And actually, just next Friday, we are organizing some STEAM activity in his school. Is Asian Festival. And we are organizing very big event with many people, with many workshops, like with new technologies. We are using VR glasses where students and parents can come and travel to Asia without going out from the building. We are showing math from Asia, especially from Japan. We are showing Japanese abacus and like fast way of calculating. So this is something new for students and for parents. You know, I'm STEAM teacher and also STEAM mother. And my son, like everywhere where my son see team, he always say, "Oh, mom, it's look like a STEAM." He's already familiar with these letters, and it's all the time. Mom, STEAM is here. Mom, STEAM is there.
You are really a STEAM ambassador, doing all these things at your son's school. Tell me about the school where you teach and your students, please.
So I teach in a public school and I am a math teacher. We are a local community here. So it was important for me to teach in the public school and in the public school in the place where I live. It was the part of building relationship with students, parents, and local community. And I am a teacher this year of sixth graders and eighth graders. It's mean children between 13 and 15 years old. So for eighth graders, we have like huge national final exam, and depends on the result from this exam, they can choose better school. So I have this year eighth grade. So it's mean like I feel like a little bit pressure, or maybe it's not pressure, it's just challenge for me to prepare them very well for this final exam. I'm trying to do some STEAM activities with them.
How do you try to encourage girls' interest in STEAM subjects?
So first of all, my teaching methods are based on authenticity and honesty. When I start working at school, I always begin to getting to know my class. This is very important for me to know who are my students, who are their parents. And during the very first months, I try to learn as much as possible about my students' strengths and difficulties. It is important to know, to tell my students who I am and tell their parents who I am, that they can know me more and they can trust me. I like to talk about my previous work experience because I was working for 10 years at the Warsaw City Hall. I was working as a financial analyst. And this is like a very long period. So this is important for my life and for the person that I am right now. I also traveled a lot. I graduated from the University of Seoul from South Korea. This is a country where new technologies are on the highest level. So I carry all these experiences into my STEAM education. I am in a regular contact with parents. Parents are a very important part of STEAM education. I also encourage them to talk about their jobs at home. Last but not least, this is very important for me in STEAM projects, that in STEAM we accept mistakes. And I show my students that I don't know everything, that I'm also making mistakes. But even when you make mistakes, you have to try and go outside of your comfort zone, because this is the way when you learn the most.
What attitudes do schools, students, teachers, and parents need to challenge because they discourage girls from STEAM?
Well, I think Poland is a little bit different example than other countries, because actually we have in school, especially many girls that are interested in STEAM. And when I look into robotic classes at my school, there are probably more girls than boys. Poland also has the highest percentage of women scientists and engineers among large countries in Europe. This is around 49%. After us is UK and Germany. I think we don't have that huge problem to find a team where are more girls than boys. This is my fourth year of being teacher, but I observe that girls are very ready and very open to learn new things, and we don't afraid to try. And when we have good teachers who allow them to make mistakes and to allow them to try, this is like something that's wonderful, that they can develop themselves and they can become great engineers or scientists in the future.
Can you give me an example of a project you developed with your students?
I can show you one example of my project. And this is like project that all my female students, especially, they enjoy the most. This is Gingerbread School. This is a project that involves baking a school building out of gingerbread dough to scale. We are doing this project before Christmas. This project allows for an interest in architecture, mathematics, engineering, combined with art and new technologies. In 2023, it's been just a few months ago, we expanded the project to the whole country. We invited other schools and kindergartens, and 6 schools and kindergartens joined us and also built a school using gingerbread dough. We think this is a very attractive project where you can use a lot of skills, and we teach them about STEAM methodology. We also use EduScrum methods for this project. They were very happy to join. After the project, they are calling us and asking when will be next STEAM projects, because they also want to be part of this group of STEAM teachers in Poland. To make this project more attractive, we gained sponsor who financed materials for baking and decorating. This whole project was done in cooperation with Teach for Poland. And this is another thing that I feel that will encourage students to do STEAM projects. It's finding some financial support. We learn how to manage budget. We learn how to spend the money that we received. And we also can buy small products that can be incentives for girls and for students to join the project, like some groceries or some office supplies or some new technologies even.
Do attitudes change after your students take part in STEAM projects?
I have seen an incredible development in their creativity and for generating ideas. I remember a few years ago when we just started our first projects, it was very difficult to be creative and to find ideas for my students. And now when we are doing project, entire desks are covered of a variety of very original ideas.
Is there a student you'd like to talk about who really benefited from these projects?
One of my students, she's right now in the grade 6th, and she has a lot of difficulties in learning math. So actually, we shouldn't be a good friends because I'm a math teacher. So I'm very demanding in case of math. But because she's also attending this club that I am running at my school, we are doing together STEAM projects. It came out that she works very well in a team and she's born to be a leader. In addition, she's great in public speaking. So actually STEAM, like the all letters from STEAM, is about hard competencies and hard skills, technology, engineering, math. But actually STEAM is really about developing soft competencies, as you mentioned before, the cooperation, creative thinking, and public speaking. And thanks to the STEAM projects, she also won some award from the city that we live, and she became the most popular teenager in the city, in case of doing a lot for the city. And she received this award because she joined one of the STEAM projects that I started at my school. It was the mathematical map of our city, and I feel that the STEAM project helped her to learn more about herself and also believe in herself, which is the great success for me as a teacher.
Do you have any advice for teachers in schools where girls' interest in STEAM subjects is still an issue?
I feel that we need to show more and more examples of ladies working in the STEAM field. If we have mothers, if we have other teachers with previous working background, we should try to show as much as we can. So it will be a good example for our girls at school.
Thanks, Patrycja, for these insights. It has been interesting to learn that the Polish tradition of women in science and girls' interest in STEAM subjects and careers deviates from the global norm of pervasive negative mindsets that hinder gender equity. Let's leave Europe to travel to Western Africa, where Shuli waits for us in a public boarding school in Lagos, Nigeria. Hello, Shuli. Are you talking from your school now?
I'm at home now, not at school. So my school is a government-owned school. It's also a boarding school. The total number of students in my school is around 420 at the moment, and it's a senior secondary school. I teach chemistry. So in my classroom, what you see outside the window is bush. Yes, bush, green grass. Inside the classroom, they have each student to a chair and a desk, but they are jointed together. We have 3 rows, and all of them will be facing the board.
Shuli, how do you encourage girls' interest in STEAM subjects?
I've explored various methods and activities to stimulate my learners, particularly my girls' interest in STEM subjects. For example, I use role models and guest speakers for my science project or any activity that I have for them. And what does that mean? It's a lot about bringing them to the limelight. They usually feel they have to stay behind, but I make sure that they are the team leads. And once this is done, other students sees them as role models. And I do this so that they are going to feel comfortable. They'll feel relevant, right? And they'll also be able to have an improved sense of belonging. I tell them, I want you to showcase it here. So I want you to do better than I am. Take the stage. Be the leader. give me the idea. I know you can do it. So this makes them feel really comfortable and they feel very, very ready. Another thing that I also do is to share my life's personal story to them. So when I was growing up, I was born in a low income community, right? And in this interior part of Osun State, there's this way they feel that girls really we eventually will end up in our husband's home. That mindset kind of affected most of my classmates that we grew up together in my school then. And I was always this outspoken. I was always trying to help my friends, my girls, my friends when we were growing up. And it kind of helped me in being a STEM teacher. And I wanted to be a nurse. But then, with the help of my parents, my mom, she was like, "You're very good at teaching and helping others. How about you become an educator, willing to help your friends? It's something you have passion for." I took up chemistry because it was my favorite subject back then. And I like chemistry because most of my friends feel like that subject is too abstract. Like they don't want to go for it. I chose it because I feel it is not a challenge. It's something that can be taught in a way that will make it very realistic and easy for people to comprehend.
How do you share your passion for chemistry with your students?
I told my learners this. Do you want to solve problems? Do you want to solve real life problems using science approach? And I showed them the different way to enjoy science subjects. It's not deep, it's not difficult. You just have to have an open mind and be willing. Since you have the ability to be creative with things, it's just a matter of taking it one step at a time. So sharing my story and linking it with how it can help them, it makes it very easy for my girls to walk up to me that, "Ma'am, I'm at a crossroad." And I think this is part of what you've shared with us before. "Okay, can you tell me what to do?" And I tell them, "I won't tell you what to do, but I'll guide you in making the best decision." It's something that I've seen the results. Yes, I've seen the result of all of this in their lives. So most of the time, we start the class with this positive affirmation. This is the mindset that I instill in them at first. For example, when I'm teaching separation techniques, you see the confusion on their faces. So I tell them, I use examples of things they can relate with easily in their environment. For example, I brought chalk into the class, mix it with water, and I tell anyone in the classroom that I need someone to, separate my chalk and my water for me. I tell it to them, I'm confused. I don't know how to separate this. I need my chalk back. I don't want the solution. I need it back. Then you see them thinking, what should we do? Should we go and spread it outside? Do we need to dry it? And I tell them, okay, if you can dry it and it will work. So when I give them that task, I make sure that the topic, I break it down. I try as much as possible to relate each of the topics with what they see in their environment. We use videos, we use songs. You see them singing. For example, when I wanted to teach them the first 20 elements, I had to look for a song for them to make it easy for them to sing. And look at it, they mastered it in a day. The following day, they were greeting me with a song. So I use various methods to ensure that their interest is there.
Is there any girl you are particularly proud of?
There is a particular student, I call her my friend now. In 2021, when I met her, I noticed that she doesn't want to do a lot. She just wants to be in the class. She feels like the guys can do better than her. She feels a little bit restrained about her potentials. I realized that she's very creative and she's very inquisitive as well, but she just doesn't want to ask that question until you push her and tell me what is in your mind. So fast forward to when we have my school's first inaugural science exhibition done by my student. After taking personal interest in her, she was able to achieve so many things. In 2022, when we had our first inaugural lecture, I made her the team lead, inaugural science exhibition. I made her the team lead for our group to bring out an innovative science solution, a project for this science exhibition. She said that I think I'm wrong, that I'm not supposed to choose her. I'm supposed to choose any of the boys that are in our group that can actually do better than her. And I'm like, no, I want you to be the leader here. I want you to give me a solution, something that you want to present on the science exhibition. I gave her a few options. She came up with reusable pad. And I asked her, why do you want your group to present reusable pad? She was like, well, as a girl, most of the time we can't afford to buy menstrual pads. She came up with it and told me it's a cheaper way and safe way, and she feels that this is going to go a long way in helping other girls like her. And yes, she presented at the science exhibition and she came third. And that's not all. After that science exhibition, we had this science competition that came up again recently. That was in 2023 around July, and I brought her again, and she was able to be selected as part of the top 10 to represent my school for a science competition. And they came up with a to relieve her of the menstrual pain. And she said this steamer bottle is what she's particularly interested in, and she suggested it to her teammates that we have to do this. This is a way to help everyone that need hot water at a go. So, and eventually they came first with a grand prize of 1 million naira, which was very huge for her. She was very excited. Our whole mindset changed, and in fact she's taking lead in any science project that I want to do. And she has told me that she doesn't want to tell me the course she wants to apply for. That is a surprise, that I'm going to be surprised. That
Are attitudes changing?
Nigeria is this kind of country that feel girls should not take the lead in certain positions. For example, in my school, before changing the mindset of the teachers, the parents, and everyone, they had this opinion that whenever we have STEAM activity, whenever we have STEAM projects or STEAM competition, I should focus more on the boys. I tell them, no, I won't do that, sir. I'm very sorry. The boys are doing well, but my girls are also exceptional. And trust me, we are going to come back with the award. So they have this mindset that girls can't do it when it comes to science competitions. That narrative is very wrong, and I'm very grateful that that narrative has changed over time, because my girls go out there for competitions, we come back winning.
Before saying goodbye, Shuli wanted to share some lessons she has learned.
I would like to encourage every STEM teacher out there, please, our girls are very important. You need to see the things that they are doing, their innovation, everything. We just have to give girls a chance at everything. We don't want them to feel limited. Whatever activity we are doing, whatever opportunity that we get, we need to let them know that they can do better than whatever anybody feels. And as teachers, please, let's be ready to support them with materials, with any needed support that they need to try, because eventually we'll be proud of them. I am extremely proud. I brag about it. I'm sorry. I boast about it because they are taking the lead.
Let's now travel to South Asia to visit one more teacher, Kainat. She teaches biology. Hello, Kainat. Where are you now?
I'm back to my home because in Pakistan right now it's 5:32 in evening.
Kainat, can you tell me about your context and your school?
I'm living in Rawalpindi. It's a twin city with the capital of Pakistan. It's a government school. It's not highly facilitated basically. It's only a girls' school. Basically, I'm teaching 9, 10th and 8th. They are from 14 to 16 years of age. It's a low income community, and there is a water pollutant regions near the schools which cause different diseases in the rainy season. Specifically, it makes difficult for the students to reach the school on time. With that pollutant water body beside our school, students have to cross that area and then reach the school, but due to rain or when the dam is full or when the water reaches to the limit, the students can't cross that area and they can't reach the school. Inside the classroom, it's a different environment, a very jolly environment.
I'm very interested in approaches that motivate girls in STEAM subjects and career paths. What approach do you use?
There are multiple approaches that I use that includes giving them assignments that really connect them with their daily lives. For example, if I'm teaching them water pollution, I will be connecting them with what causes water pollution is causing in their life or what effect do it have. I'm working on their critical thinking and they are becoming better researchers.
What project have you done recently at your school?
So recently, we just told my students how wind turbine works, and using different sticks, they made wind turbines, and we connected it with a voltmeter. And when there was wind, these wind turbines ran. Due to that, current electricity was produced, and that voltmeter showed a reading too, that electricity can be produced using windmills, or how we can use green energy resources to produce electricity. While I was teaching them pressure, I organized a petition which was how we can launch rockets. It was among different groups of the class, so every group had made their own rocket. And at the end, the person or the group which just launched the rocket far away from everyone else won the competition. So that's how I'm developing curiosity so that they can develop their interest in STEAM. It was really a fun thing for them. They were really excited to do more things like this. Before that, they were just studying to get good marks, but after introducing them to different activities and how they can create their own models and how it's basically linked with our daily life, their curiosity, the all the student outcomes we are looking in them, for example mastery or their collective responsibility. Before that, they were not that much into the collective responsibility.
What else are you doing at your school to support girls in science?
I have invited different people belonging to different STEM careers, or who are basically practicing STEM in their real life. So they can talk to the students and they can tell them how they have been practicing STEM in their lives. I have arranged university visits and lab visits for my students so that they could learn from other people how each STEM career has a specific role in everyone's life. They were just coming back from the university. So one of the student who always got best marks in the class, who was the best grader, said, before that I just studied so that I could get good marks. But now I have a vision, or I have an aim to just get admission in the university so I could also work in one of those STEAM careers. So this is not only affecting them for their short term goals, but also helping them to achieve their long term goals.
Kanat explains the positive changes that she has seen in her community.
Slowly and gradually, now community members understand that we are not studying so that we can increase our knowledge, but this also helps in our daily life too. I just made them realize how these environmental changes are not only book knowledge, it is really affecting their life too. Once I told them a story about Dark River and how the waterborne diseases were affecting people in that story, and how few of the biologists and biotechnologists or few of the environmentalists worked to fight against that, and they created a clean environment. And after few days, I asked one of the students, what do you want to do in your life? It was just a random conversation, and she just told me that I want to become an environmentalist because I see that there are a lot of challenges in my community related to water, and I want to fight against that.
Like Shuli and Patrycja, Kanat is a real advocate for improving girls' representation in STEAM careers, and she also wants to share some advice for teachers.
I would like to mention that when talking about girls' education or STEAM education in the school, the basic thing while connecting with the principal, with the other co-fellows or teachers or community members, the basic thing is clarity. Communication is the key. For example, I'm in my fellowship for 2 years. After I'm gone, it shouldn't stop. This community shouldn't stop to practice STEAM. If communication is there, things will go on and they would be encouraging others to do this too. It won't stop at a point. And the next thing which I would say, it's not like just one day or one activity brings change. It's a slow process, and slow, and with that you need strength. There would be a lot of time when your students would say, why I'm doing this, I don't need this. Slowly and gradually, as their interest would develop, they would just encourage you to do more and more. It will make your life more fun, and it will also make your students learn better.
Across the Teach for All network, teachers like Patrycja, Shuli, Kanat, and their students are raising their voices to talk about the need for gender equity and leading initiatives focusing on the education and empowerment of women and girls. As Maliha highlights, Gender equity must be a global collaborative mission, and all teachers and organizations are called to join efforts.
We believe that this problem is not to be solved only by one person or one organization. This cannot be solved in silos, particularly the gender equity and increasing more participation in STEM education and in STEM career and leadership. Building the strategic partnership in the local context and also in the global context to build partners and allies all around the world.
Gender inequalities are a global challenge, but action to subvert negative mindsets and attitudes in education need to happen locally. As our guests shared, some contexts face collective mindsets that are more conducive to gender equity than others, but in all contexts, teachers see that role models are key to inspire girls to take an interest in STEM careers. Before we close this episode, let's hear one more important reflection from Maliha.
I would connect back with the issue of safety and security, because unless our girls are feeling safe and secure in the classrooms, in many cultures, particularly in many locations of the world, where girls are not feeling safe walking to school or not feeling seen in their community, in their school, it's very difficult to pursue knowledge, to show interest for STEM subjects. And that is why we see so many of our partners all around the world. For example, our partners in Kenya, we have seen teachers in Teach for Kenya who are really now focusing on not only STEM education, thinking about girls building stronger access with maths and science, but also building self-protection skills. So they are teaching martial arts, karate, they are at the same time having health and hygiene workshops. And I was asking some teachers, like, why is it like has to be a combination of priorities? And they were very clear. They were very clear that our girls needs to be protected and know how to protect themselves, at the same time feel confident to pursue the knowledge that they want to pursue and to become whoever they want to become. I think this has been really inspiring personally for me, to see that what can really encourage women and girls all around the world, not only seeing examples and role models, but also having the mentorship and the support and the trust and confidence from their teachers and the affirmation from their parents and family and communities, alongside having the question of safety and not being worried about that.
In my own path, I have seen the impact in girls of having positive female models. Although I followed a career in social sciences and I wear several hats, I call myself a researcher. I grew up surrounded by female engineers, and I'm sure that having a close relationship with scientist friends and aunties was important for my own daughter, as she grew up to be the committed scientist she is today. A shout out to Ines here and my goddaughter Jude, who might be listening us today from the coast of Mozambique, where they work understanding underwater ocean pollution and its impact in animal behavior and coastal community livelihoods. They really are my inspiration. I have also had the honor to interview in previous episodes other inspiring women in science. A shout out to all the incredible female scientists and teachers who have previously participated in this podcast, inspiring other teachers around the world and me. Thank you, Maliha, and to the teachers for sharing their expertise with us. I hope that the real stories of educators working on the front line with school children, together with the insights shared by Maliha about how Teach for All's work around girls' education, can inspire reflection about best ways to create equal access to nurturing learning environments for all. Thanks to you for listening to this episode of Teachers' Voices. You can learn more about our guests in the show notes of the podcast and on Vogue.expert. To learn more about the work that Teach for All is doing in more than 60 countries, you can visit also their website at teachforall.org. There you can also find more details of Teach for All's Global Girls Initiative. In the next episode, we will talk about entrepreneurial mindsets and school-to-work transitions. Don't forget to subscribe and write a review if you have enjoyed this podcast. You can also engage with us on social media and join our WhatsApp group. The link is on the show notes too.